Hi there, this is Wendy with Wren and Starling. I go by Wren too, if that's confusing for anybody. It's sort of a nickname. Welcome to the Ulysses the Ram Knit Along, or CAL, as they're sometimes referred to. This is the first of a few videos that I'm going to make just to go through a few of the parts of the pattern that I think most people struggle with or might struggle with. This week we're going to be working mostly on Ulysses' head, and this is what you will have by the end of the week, plus his arms. If you get to that point, I included the arms just to kind of spread things out equally, but feel free to work on those further along if you need to. I think if you get through the head this week, it's kind of a good reward because you finished the hardest part of the pattern. So this is a in-progress Ulysses, and we're going to start down here, and we're going to work this way on his head today. And the first thing that we are going to do is cast on 6. So you will need your double-pointed needles. Here pretty soon you're going to need 2 stitch markers. You're going to need your white yarn, and at some point a pair of scissors. Okay. Move these out of the way. I tend to fling things. I'm a little bit klutzy sometimes. Okay, so we're going to cast on 6 to begin. And you want to make sure to have I use a long tail cast on usually when I'm doing almost anything, but whichever your preferred method, it all works. Just make sure that there's a little bit of leftover yarn at the end because we're going to use that for something when we go to put things together. So here we go. I'm going to make a slip knot and cast on 6. I think getting set up, the first few rows are kind of the most difficult for some people. And I think they're the most difficult for me anyway. Maybe not you. For me, definitely. Okay, so there's your 6 stitches. I'm going to turn these around and grab another needle. We're going to divide them up into 3. Some people want to use more than 2 needles, and I think that's most like the normal thing to do. I usually just use 2 on these smaller projects. Feel free again to do whatever you're most comfortable with. However, I would wait until you get through the first couple rows just because it is kind of fiddly. It doesn't like to kind of hold on where it's supposed to. Oops. Yep, okay. This guy's just going to dangle in the back here for now. He sort of marks the beginning of the round a bit, so we're just going to let him do that. All right, the first round is all knit front and back, every stitch. So you're going to go from 6 stitches to 12 in this first round. So knit front and back. See how that other, I'm not really holding that back needle, I'm just sort of letting it float there. If you try to hold it, I don't know, it throws stuff off a little bit. So if you can do that, do that. All right. Okay. So the end of this row, we're going to have 12 stitches. Then we're going to knit 1 round just plain. So, oops, that guy's getting in the way there. Okay. All right, so first round done. Okay. And the second round, we're going to do just plain knitting, as I said, all the way around. Oops. I tend to, my hands go all over the place. I'm trying to keep them in focus. It's hard. I'm not very good with a camera just generally. Okay. So there we go. And right there, turn around and look, that is Ulysses' little nose right there. So you've already done that. Now, the next round can be a little bit tricky for some people. It's because of the make ones. I'm going to list in the hack section of this week's first post. There's going to be 2 posts this week. So the first post, we're going to go through actually making the pieces, and then we're going to start putting stuff together in the second post. So the hack section of the first post, I'm going to put a little note in about this row. If you find it difficult, you can change this row. But right now I'm just going to do it as it's written. So it is written as knit 2, make 1, repeat 6 times. So that means you just do that all the way through. And make 1 it's a little bit smoother increase than a knit front and back, which is the first one that we did here. And that's why I use it in this pattern. But there's parts that it doesn't matter as much if you continue using it here and there. However, this is really the last of the increase rounds where you are using kind of a lot of these. The next ones are going to just be 2 per row, so it's not a huge deal. Okay, so to make 1, you're going to take this, and you're going to see this bar right here. Okay, you're going to put your left needle through that bar. You're going to kind of draw a loop, and you are going to knit through that back loop. And there you go. You've just created your first make 1. If you need to practice this a little bit, I'm going to link to the blog post that I made about these stitches. So, another make 1. All right, you're going to repeat this all the way through. I'm going to show you this one here that's at the end. It's annoying right here, but it is doable. So just do that. Yikes, see, I'm getting out of focus again. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time just to kind of show you. So, all right, so this is the bar that runs between this stitch and this stitch. I'm going to pick that up right here and just knit into the back of it. You're probably going to have some problems with this other needle. Okay, turn. And you're going to do the same thing on this back one. Once you are done with this round here, you're going to have 18 stitches all together. And for the next 4 rounds or rows, you're going to just knit them plain. So knit 18, knit 18, knit 18, knit 18. Once you're done with that, we will start the shaping of his little face. So I'll see you then. Welcome back. Okay, if you have finished, let's see, up to row 7, you should have about that much on your needle. That's his little nose, his little snout. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start doing some shaping. I'm going to bring over my little Ulysses head here for a sec, show you what we're going to be doing. This section is comprised of 2 make 1s per row. We have a make 1 right and a make 1 left. And what this does is it adds these extra stitches in width real subtly, and they lean in the right directions. And it actually gets a little bit simpler from this point on, I think. One thing I do want to point out, if you want to add another needle back here, I would definitely split the back stitches up and not the front, because the front, I think it just really helps to be able to see how those stitches are sitting next to each other. You can really tell which is the front and which is the back. Ulysses' little head, the back, is just straight knitting for a long time, so you're not going to be doing anything back here on that back needle. It's all the action happens up here. So let's get this going here. This is where you're going to need your stitch markers. So I'm going to put these over here. Okay. I'm going to do the first increase round with you. So there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I have to remind myself here, 4. There are 4 increase rounds, and in between each increase round is a plain just knit around, so row. So I'm going to do the first one with you, And the next one, just pay attention to the numbers in the pattern and you should be fine. But we're going to be doing exactly the same thing. You're just adding stitches. So it's going to be a little more every time. So here is the first one. Okay, so we're going to knit 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is where we make one right. So making one left and making one right, a little different. Make one rights. You go through the back of this same loop. And then you knit through the front. And I usually kind of nudge it out just a little bit before I knit through that front loop. Okay? There you go. That's a make one right. Okay. We're going to knit 3. 1, 2, 3. We are going to put the other marker right there. Okay? We're going to make another and make one left. Those are the same. Make ones and make one lefts are the same. So you go through the front of it and then you knit through the back. And as I had to do with the other one, I often have to kind of nudge these out a little because I don't like to split my yarn. Okay, so there you go. Now we are going to knit through the remaining stitches of this round. Okay, I'm just gonna, I think what I'm gonna do is get you started on the next one and then let you go until we reach a certain point. So I think you guys can figure this out just fine. Okay. So the next round is a knit 4. You're going to knit these 4. Remember, this is your make 4. So okay, but first we are going to do that knit straight through round. So when you come on onto the stitch markers, just literally slip them through on these knit rows. Okay. Don't worry, you won't have these with you the rest of the time. Just for a few rows. Okay. My cat distracted me there for a second. She was thinking about jumping up on the desk. Not good timing, Wilma. Okay, all right. So we are going to knit 4, make one right. So you're adding another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make one right. Go through the back of that loop. Okay, and then you knit through the front like normal. Okay, slip that marker. 1, 2, 3. Slip that next marker, and you're going to make one left. So front to back and through the back loop. And that's pretty much it. Okay, knit around and then do a plain row of knitting. We've got, let's see, I think I'm gonna 12, 13. I'm going to meet you after row 13. And we're going to start the shaping of where his fleece begins.